How'd you get all the way over there? Well, impressive. You realized how much of a waste of time you are, and took a shortcut. You're much closer to the elevator, so well done, Inspector. Now, you're not supposed to be in that part of the facility, but never mind. You will be taking what you see here to your grave. Don't worry, it's just a standard non-disclosure agreement. You must have gone through the ventilation chambers. Wait, did you wear a breathing mask? Those chambers are littered with microcrystalline particles. Expected, since they are the lungs of Lightmatter technologies. But instead of focusing on the years of life you've just lost, let's focus on the happy fact that your shortcut saved us a couple of hours. Fascinating. You can understand my technology, even though your brain is slowly decaying from crystalline particle poisoning. I'm actually glad to show you this room. This is where we crush our scraps into reusable metal. I built many things with it. Lamps, furnaces, and even my leg. Inspector, I admire competence, and you've shown some. So let me tell you a bit about my technology. The panels that you've lit up to power machinery, those are the photon power cells. You see, my former partner, Arthur, designed this part of the facility. And when he did, he used primitive copper for wiring. Once I increased the voltage, it melted. So I bypassed that idiocy by retrofitting doors, lifts, etc. with photon power cells. Those power cells function as both energy converters and switches. Clever, but you'll realize their true purpose once Lightmatter makes its way into the world. You know, when Arthur's wiring overloaded, I was fortunate enough to get stuck in an elevator with my engineers. But I make the most out of bad situations, so we had an hour-long conversation, much like this one. I talked and they listened. Inspector, let me enlighten you. To invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. Conventional solar cells were a pile of junk until I got my hands on them. I improved upon them using photon crystals and created photoelectric cells that were actually efficient. Of course, when I succeeded, a cabal of my competitors, journalists, and windmill enthusiasts formed to try to undermine my achievements. Why did I expect any different? Competing with me is like an ant competing with a boot. Overwhelming. You seem intoxicated by opening and closing that door. Is this the first time you've held real power in your hands, Inspector? Allow me to clear away any doubts you might have about my photon power cells. For my initial test, I took an elevator to the top of the mountain on a sunny day. I had a coffee machine in each hand, one powered by a solar cell, the other powered by my photon cell. Within 1 minute, I was drinking. Impressive! You're the smartest inspector I've ever met. A low bar, sure, but a bar nonetheless. Oh, hold on. What an interesting phone call. My security manager, James, just got a hold of our government contacts. They told him that we were not scheduled for an inspection today. And since you are not on the guest list, James doesn't know who you are. But I do. It's obvious. You're a journalist. It fits. Your kind always go to such extremes for your stories. I would like to remind you that freedom of the press does not extend to trespassing. We'll have a talk once you get out. A journalist. I've had my fair share of experience with your kind. Always trying to make me show a sign of weakness. So let this be a reminder. I have none. Since you're a journalist, you must be here to investigate the merits of Arthur's accusations. Yes, I read the papers. I like to keep myself misinformed. Do you know what makes his lies so convincing? The small amount of truth he uses. Yes, Lightmatter caused hair loss and other minor side effects. But I solved all of that with the mineral decontaminators. And what did Arthur do? He poisoned our employees, exaggerating those side effects in his crusade to destroy me. Jealousy can be so ugly. It can be so all-consuming. It consumed our partnership, it consumed our friendship, and it almost destroyed this entire facility. Journalist, Arthur's poison project severely damaged morale. My employees weren't just losing their hair, they were losing their identity. So besides installing the decontaminators, I ordered a container full of wigs. It was a success. Everyone started using them, except me. I don't try to cover up facts. Lost my leg. Before the facility, Arthur and I were climbing this mountain as it started shifting around us. The quakes mangled my leg beyond recognition, and that coward left me there to die. But I went deeper into the mountain and came back with a photon crystal. Add that to your article. You know, when Arthur started working against me, I needed loyalty. I found that in James, a miner who crawled his way up the food chain. Not the brightest, but the most dedicated. Don't let his title as security manager distract you from his role as my right-hand man. So, journalist, you will soon be out of here. But before you write a hit piece about the quote-unquote deadly shadows of Lightmatter, let's get the facts straight. The shadow anomalies are not spreading beyond the facility. They are local to the core. Also, we have had countless test runs on the core before today, and there have never been any signs of shadow anomalies. There is a simple explanation for that. You see, my engineers desperately strive to impress me. So during the launch event, one of them turned up the core's energy output. Understand, for every 100 megawatts I spend powering the core, I normally receive 107 megawatts. And today, that number increased to 111 megawatts. But I take full responsibility for my engineer's wrongdoing. I'm finding a solution, and he's finding a new career. Actually, he's probably dead. When you write about these shadows, be mindful of the words you choose. What changes nuclear power from a weapon to an energy source? Words. Think about that, journalist. Journalist, you must admit that the shadow anomalies are fascinating. Think about the applications. Organic waste disposal, mold removal, pest control. The possibilities are endless. Walking sideways with a lamp. Clever solution for a journalist. There we are, the entrance to research and development. I know that you're eager to explore more of Lightmatter technologies, but you overstayed your welcome long ago. If it's any consolation, I'll let you write an exclusive about me. How does that sound? Just remember that non-disclosure agreement we discussed. Also, you are trespassing, and I have a legion of lawyers. So, journalist, our time together is sadly at an end. The elevator is just upstairs. Listen, I know that I mentioned lawyers earlier. It's just that a man like me needs to be careful. I understand the need for journalists. People in power need to be held accountable. I'm no exception. I just hope you're fair when you write about me. Journalist, here's something for your exclusive. As you can probably imagine, I was a smart child. I built a calculator when I was 7 and made it solar-powered when I was 8. But the most I could ever get from my father was a half-hearted grunt of acknowledgement. Some would call that neglect. I call that motivation. These platforms, they move fast, don't they? I have James race them. It forces my security manager to be in top physical condition. You see, I nurture the talents of my employees. Listen, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but without me, you would be lost forever. So here's an idea for your front page. Leader shows me the light in a moment of darkness. Write it down. I've thought of something. When you write that exclusive, make sure to mention James. He'll be very pleased about that. Standing in my shadow isn't always easy. I know you're tired, but once you're out of here, James will take you to the outpost. There will be food, a warm shower, everything you need, until I come over for our talk. I admire the way you solve problems. You always see them from so many different perspectives. It gives me hope that you will see things from mine. I finally understand why you are so slow. The facility is distractingly, stunningly, overwhelmingly beautiful. And you'll get to write about it. journalist. When you meet James, ask him to check the time and tell him that I won. See you on the other side. I'll think of something. Start heading back. I'll tell you when to stop.
Trying to sabotage. I just snuck into Arthur's office, and it's worse than I thought. Arthur is trying to sabotage Lightmatter. It's not just poisonings. I found the schematics for his experiment on the core. He's not trying to improve it. He's trying to overload it. If he manages to do that, we are all going to die. I am not going to let Arthur ruin our future. I have to get to Virgil. Arthur is after me. Whoever finds this, if it's not too late, tell Virgil that Arthur needs to be stopped.
All right now, pay close attention. It seems that when it comes to you, nothing can ever be simple. That elevator was your quickest way out. But I have an idea, and it involves making this partnership mutually beneficial. You are going to be my assistant. Try to contain yourself. You will be moving deeper into the facility through our research and development department. Before I allow you in, I would like to make something abundantly clear. Be careful with what you touch, and no photographs. I'll tell you more about the plan as I work out the details. Do not make me regret this, and remember to do exactly as I say. So, assistant, this is where we develop our photon connectors. Everything you see here is confidential, expensive, and fragile. Don't treat it like you treat my elevators. Or bridges. Behold, a photon connector. Ah, a beam of light so magnificent, it almost looks like matter being created before you. Fascinating, isn't it? The connectors suspend photon crystals over electromagnets. As long as they're in line of sight to what I call a mother source, they create a powerful beam of light matter. A beam so powerful that it produces a surplus of energy. Although the connectors are just prototypes for the core, they display the very essence of light matter. Know this, without the technology behind the connectors, photon crystals would be no better than diamonds, boring and devoid of function. The crystals possess great power, but it's my technology that releases and tames that power. Assistant, I think a lot about the future. In these labs, I've spent years testing the prototypes under various conditions, all to ensure the success of the core. You see, although the photon connectors have 100.2% conversion efficiency, I've reached 107% with the core. I achieved critical mass. And Arthur wanted to stop at the prototype. Madness. He was so certain that the laws of physics were unbreakable. That is where we differed. Where he saw laws, I saw suggestions. In that tunnel, we exposed the photon connectors to wind, water, and hail. These tests ensure that the core, no matter the weather, will survive. You are no crystal, but you should be able to handle a couple of rounds through it. Excellent. You have overcome an obstacle and been baptized in the waters of Lightmatter. I can almost imagine the stench of journalist fading away. Ah, the core. No matter how many times we see it, it leaves us in awe, doesn't it, Assistant? This is everything Lightmatter Technologies has built towards. Every power cell, every connector, all of them combine to create this. By using photon power cells to collect the energy from a large-scale beam of light matter, I built a perpetual motion machine. Facts are facts. The energy is clean, infinite, and is about to usher in the next scientific revolution. Others will stand on my shoulders and see further than they have ever before. That will be my legacy. We will fix the side effects. Let us ignore the quakes for now. Imagine at the center of a city, a core, providing sustainable and renewable energy to millions. That is the future we are striving for. Now, you probably have your own ideas about the applications of light matter, but there's no need to write them down. We have given a small-scale prototype to a test town of 500 inhabitants. For the first time, these townspeople have access to a steady energy source. They are now thriving. Assistant, I now have the plan. To get you out, we are shutting down the core. When I left earlier, my path down there was blocked. And since I'm limited by my body, but not my mind, I wasn't able to get around the obstacles. As you have the opposite problem, you'll play a part in this. The core is very delicate, so I'll be up here in my control room managing the shutdown. As my assistant, you'll be the one pulling the lever. When I told James of this plan, he seemed jealous. You might be wondering why there are photon connectors inside an office space. Well, morale was low because of the rampant hair loss, so I implemented a photon fun hour. During their breaks, employees were allowed to play with the connectors. Productivity rose by 12%. So, James just called me. He's worried that since you've been weightlifting pens all your life, you have too frail a constitution to pull a lever. Let's see if he's right. Assistant, you need to know what will happen after the temporary shutdown. Once the core is off, the quakes and shadow anomalies will subside, allowing you to walk your fragile little head out of here. But more importantly, observing the shutdown will provide me the information I need to fix the side effects permanently. The core will repower, and it will shine eternally. Do you want to hear a secret? Aperture Science has an artificial intelligence prototype. They tested it by having it create the perfect cake recipe. It succeeded, but the first iterations of that recipe used neurotoxin as the primary ingredient. As a human being, I'm worried. This mineral inspection chamber makes me nostalgic. Before I discovered this mountain, Arthur had a mineral collection. He called me over one day to show off a particularly rare example he had found, a photon crystal. I could see the potential immediately. And Arthur thought it was just a rare crystal. I thought he was brain damaged. That mineral transporter was the first thing I designed after Arthur's betrayal. He always was afraid of spiders. impressive. With that agility and complete disregard for your own safety, one could easily mistake you for a cat. I like cats. Look at the plants around you, Assistant. We planted them yesterday. You see, light matter accelerates photosynthesis and makes them grow at an incredible rate. Imagine applying this technology to cultivation throughout the world. Famine, mass deforestation, floods, all of these relegated to history. Light matter will not only brighten the world, it will give life. Ignore that sign. As I've told you before, all groundbreaking technology has its kinks. Nothing can stop these plants while they're exposed to light matter. Understand, the accelerated photosynthesis also allows them to regrow lost stems in a matter of minutes. It sparks the imagination, doesn't it? My engineers are already trying to grow back my leg. Assistant, by now you must understand the significance of light matter. So it's about time you learned how Arthur almost destroyed it. 3 months, and a lot of hair ago, Arthur went to the board of directors behind my back. He proved to them that Lightmatter was causing minor side effects. It was humiliating, but I solved the problem by installing the decontaminators. That is when Arthur started poisoning people. Later, that vermin of a man had the nerve to use that as further proof to the board. While we were investigating the matter, one of my employees discovered his plan to overload the core and destroy the entire facility. Luckily, James and I stopped him before it was too late. Arthur paid for what he did, but nothing can redeem betrayal. Let me explain what betrayal is. In the mountain, before this facility, Arthur and I would work together weeks on end to finish the first photon connectors. All those cold, dark nights, and suddenly, breakthrough. A web of light surrounded us. It was mesmerizing. Betrayal is knowing that moment meant nothing to him. Arthur. 9 out of 10 of his ideas were useless. But that 10th idea? World-changing genius. He thought of using light matter to accelerate photosynthesis. It's a shame that great ideas do not excuse betrayal. now. You're getting close to the core, but the quakes are getting... Hold on. Yes, James? James, you have brawn, not brains. My new assistant and I have the situation under control. Stay at the outpost. Keep everyone safe. Goodbye. You know, assistant, I'm starting to enjoy your company and the qualities you possess. You are persistent, replaceable, and silent. You need to handle bridges with more finesse, assistant. Well, at least you still have your legs. Let's see. Yes. You are moving into my newer, more experimental labs. Communication systems and cameras are non-existent. Now, that area is dangerous, so stick to the exit signs. We're in this together. See you soon.
Ellen here. I'm having these intense splitting headaches. They only seem to go away when I stare directly into light. And I'm not the only one. We're all slowly turning into moths, staring at lamps for hours on end. Not only that, people are still losing hair and now fingernails. It doesn't make any sense. It's been weeks since Virgil and James handled Arthur. And still things are getting worse. I don't care what Virgil says. The decontaminators are clearly not working, and just handing us wigs isn't helping. I need to figure out exactly what Arthur was doing, and why. Ellen here. Virgil has tightened the security into Arthur's office, but I managed to get in. I'm having a closer look at his overload schematics, and his experiment could really multiply the core's output by several magnitudes. Makes sense why Virgil's still tinkering with it. Greedy old man. What else is in here? Arthur had a theory. Based on... Oh, he built a prototype of his experiment on the core. It says something about... shadows. Strange, but let me see. Multiple mother sources. The crystals are overcharged, and within a certain radius, equilibrium. The results just say stopped. What stopped? My God, cellular degradation stopped. He found a solution. Someone's here. I can't stop Arthur. Nobody believes the man of that static would poison people like that. I've gone through Arthur's theory. The core is not a perpetual motion machine. It's the shadows. The crystals draw energy from them. They draw energy from us. Virgil knew, and he did nothing. If he activates the core, shadows will not only decay us, they will devour us. Arthur, this doesn't change what he did, but I need to finish his work.
Assistant, get out of there. That's Arthur's... Oh, never mind. It's not safe. Hold on. I'll open the nearest exit door for you. Do not touch anything. Hear what I said? You're not qualified for that! Do you remember when I told you about the power of Lightmatter? You are currently quadrupling that power. Journalist, I know you are ambivalent about your survival, and so am I. But I will feed you to the shadows before I allow you to destroy Lightmatter. That explosion. Understand that blast injuries can be quite serious. They can cause cochlear damage, retinal failure, and most commonly, hallucinations. Keep that in mind. Now, you must do as I say. We need to fix the shadow anomalies, not kill ourselves. Journalist, you will still be pulling that lever, but your little experiment cost you your title as my assistant. I, on the other hand, still maintain the title of CEO, also known as the person who knows what he's doing. Tell me, journalist, in your day-to-day life, do your bosses hate you? Based on your recent behavior, you seem to be extremely impatient, unable to take orders, and have a ridiculous urge to push buttons. Yes, feel free to continue pointlessly opening and closing these doors. I am not impressed. Commitment to the cause would impress me. Journalist, I have an idea. Do you remember that exclusive we talked about a while back? We are going to pivot. You will be writing about Arthur. Do you know how many people he would have killed if he succeeded in overloading the core? The initial blast would have killed 290 workers in the facility. The ensuing rock slide would have killed another 80 at the surrounding outpost. In total, 370 dead, all by Arthur's hand. Now that I think about it, I hope you're a tabloid journalist. I can imagine the headline now: Light matters as truth shines on shadowy Arthur. Find a pen. You know, I have read the journalist's creed, journalist. It needs an update. Accuracy, fairness, and a distrust of Arthur are the fundamentals to good journalism. When you almost killed yourself with that explosion earlier, keep in mind Arthur built that makeshift suicide machine. So in a few years, when you've lost your hearing, eyesight, and mind, just remember you have Arthur to thank for that. And yourself. Arthur was obsessed with dangerous experiments, but I trusted it was for the better. So I once flew in a team of nurses to follow him around. It helped, until he started ruining their hair. I didn't know it was his fault, so I ordered them a box of wigs. They refused and went home. You are approaching the core. When you get there, control yourself. I know failure comes naturally to you, but this time we cannot afford it. If anything goes wrong, you will not only put me and yourself at risk. Everyone at the outpost, including James, will also be in peril. The core is powerful. Do not underestimate it. I have been observing you for a while now. You have the mindset for problem solving. You take in your environment, study it, and find a solution. There were times where you got stuck, yes, but you were persistent. This gives me hope that you understand the importance of Lightmatter. Listen, although you have done well, I have not forgotten the time you failed me. It has made me think about loyalty. You see, James follows my every word without question. It's not that he can't question it, it's that he won't, because he knows that humanity is doomed without Lightmatter. yourself, James. Just grab a lamp and create a safe zone for everyone at the outpost. James, listen. We have hours before the shadows reach the nearest city. What? I don't care that it's a solution. Why would you even suggest that? You disappoint me, James. Good. This will all be over soon. The journalist is almost... Wait. Why is this on? James, I'll call you back. Journalist, what you just heard. Remember who I am and what I've sacrificed. Lightmatter cost me my leg, my friend, and my reputation. But that is nothing. I am willing to sign my checks in blood for Lightmatter. I am a man of obsessions. Do not make yourself one of them. I've prepared the shutdown procedure. Now, pull the lever. Excellent. It worked. It's completely self-sustaining. Magnificent. Journalist, are you seeing this? Even without the mother sources, the core can power itself. Let's see. Crystals, stable. Energy levels, stable, although slightly decreased. And shadow anomalies have not subsided. However... Yes. Listen, we have exhausted all your options for exiting the facility. But since I now know what steps to take, I will fix the shadow anomalies. Now, I do not trust you around the core, so you're staying in that room. If you're hungry, well, the human body can survive 21 days without food. And as for water, I can turn on the sprinklers. Goodbye, journalist.
Whoever is listening to this, the core can't be shut down. It needs to be destroyed. Get to the control rooms surrounding the core and you'll be able to overload it. It will neutralize shadow anomalies everywhere. I tried to do it myself, but the core is surrounded by guards. And Virgil is onto me. Nobody here is facing reality. They are ready to follow Virgil off a cliff. No one is willing to help me. But I hope you will. First off, you need to reactivate the core. Once it's on, a sequence I created will give you access to the other control rooms. Don't worry, you won't be seen. When this recording triggered, it also deactivated most cameras surrounding the core. I know overloading it sounds dangerous, but trust me, you'll survive. Good luck.
Are you already that bored? What exactly are you expecting to achieve? Wait, why are the cameras... Oh, never mind. I'm sick of looking for journalistic brief anyway. Listen, if my control room bores you, then write an article about it. I have work to do. further, it will annihilate you in ways you could... You have left me with no other choice. I will feed you to the shadows. You're not a journalist. Tell me, what were you doing before I first spotted you? Stealing photon crystals? Stealing data from our servers? I know what you are. Spy! Arthur send you? Is your loyalty that blind? Think about that night. He tried to overload the core. What if he caused the shadow anomalies? And all of that complaining? I can't control the shadows. Well, I can't control the shadows, and that's because of him! It's all because of Arthur! If the shadows destroy a couple of cities, without Lightmatter, we won't just lose cities, we'll lose our future! Into a hole so dark, even photon crystals won't be able to reach. Hear me, spy! Before this is over, my shadows will disintegrate you atom by atom! James! What took you so long? What? Who is this? In the facility? When did he leave? James! Where are you, James? The spy is almost at the final switch! Get down there and stop this! Now! Listen, spy! Your crusade is over! James will find you! He will crush you! He will rip you apart! One limb at a time! And it won't be quick. No! You will suffer and you will beg! Beg for my shadows to erase you from your miserable existence! Wherever you are, spy, this is far from over! You're trapped. Our time together is finally at an end. Now watch as I close the gate and relegate you to darkness. Ah, James, you made it. You're just in time to watch this vermin get devoured by the shadows. Pest control. The applications for Lightmatter truly are... James, what are you doing? No, James, don't! James! No, you traitor! I thought you were better than this. Better than Arthur. Better than all... You... Don't pull that lever. Do you want money? Power? Please, I will give you anything. And Arthur, he can have Lightmatter. Just think about what you're throwing away. We can power the world. We can save humanity from pollution. We can save humanity from itself.
Lightmatter is ruined. I do not have the resources to set up another operation. Last year, 200,000 died from floods, 2.5 million died from pollution, 3.4 from starvation. Yes, I was reckless, but I was reckless for them. Every shortcut I took, every moral I compromised, was for their benefit. Yes, Lightmatter had issues. But now I'll never know if I could have solved it. I was never given a chance to see if I could have solved it. Their deaths are on you. Lightmatter is ruined. I do not have the resources to...
Hello and welcome to the developer commentary here in Lightmatter. We are very close to releasing our game on Steam, and we thought it would be interesting to record some developer commentaries because this project has been long and we have a lot of thoughts and feelings, and it could just be funny to share some of those with you.
Yeah, now we're 1 week from release.
Yeah, it's really strange we have been working on this like since 2016, and now it's almost out there. So very briefly, this game started out as a university project back in 2013, where we made a prototype and won some student awards, and then we decided a little bit later that we would like to pursue this concept further, and we decided to make Tunnel Vision games. And we are based here in Aalborg in Denmark, and we have been working on the game for a couple of years now, and hopefully you have played it. Hopefully you already played it. If not, that's also okay. The plan is to have these developer commentaries, one in each level, so you can kind of like hear about the design process and other things as well. So this is like just a brief introduction. My name is Gustav, and I'm working as the producer and a programmer here at Tunnel Vision. And my job is basically to do all the system programming stuff, like, for example, the saving system, the subtitles, some performance stuff, some gameplay stuff, lots of things here and there. And as a producer, I have also been the person who is in contact with like partners that can be, for example, publishers and PR and social media and all the things to talk about the game and get it out there. And I'm sitting here together with Benjamin.
Yeah, and I'm a narrative designer and programmer on this project, and that basically means, at least for the narrative side, that I've basically worked a lot with the universe and try to give the mechanics meaning and build up the story structure. And also, we were 3 writers on the project, but I'm the one that spent the most time on it, kind of spearheading that department. And on the programming side, I've done mostly graphics programming, so that means all the shaders in the game and kind of like the art style relevant things, and a lot with like how the game looks with the edge detection and comic book shading and the reflections in the shadows and stuff like that. But and also worked a bit on systems and gameplay, but it's mostly been computer graphics programming. So yeah, and maybe we should just start talking about this level.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
So this is a puzzle game, as you probably know. But we decided to start the first level off not as a puzzle, but more as an introduction to movement of the game, because we do want this game to be accessible to many people, and we wanted to introduce the fundamental movement elements like turning and walking and jumping and vaulting. And then it felt like a good opportunity to introduce some world building, because that's some very simple stuff, and it's easy to introduce some environmental storytelling, stuff like that. And for instance, by having this tram that's leaving the facility, and having this announcer voice talking to you. And it's a bit interesting actually how this announcer voice that you hear in the beginning was one of the last things we implemented in the narrative, because we built this very big level and introduces a lot of things, and we felt it was actually a bit empty.
Yeah, it was.
So having this announcer voice that kind of just lays a few breadcrumbs about where you are, but without directly answering it too much. Like we kind of felt that it gave a bit, it caught your attention a bit.
And it just gives you a place, and like it raises some questions. What happened before I arrived here, and what's going on, and who is this virtual character that this announcer is talking about, and like hopefully it
Hi, I'm Ostea. I'm the artist on this game, and what I do is make props and make sense of the levels and how they look.
And my name is Lasse, and I'm the level designer. And I've put together most of the levels like with our building blocks, and from there we have taken them to the state they are now. So this level, how do we start on this one?
Yeah, well, the most important part of this was introducing the main character, Virgil. And I guess, Virgil is pretty much inspired by Elon Musk. And one of his main purposes is also to add some humor to the game, because very early on in the development, this game kind of looks like a horror game, we realized. So it was really important for us to get some jokes in there, where the most of the humor comes out of him insulting you and other people. And I guess that's very natural for our company, because that's the way we talk to each other.
Yeah, that's done a lot here. And to build up a bit on the game not looking scary, it was quite a challenging thing to pull off, because there's a lot of darkness, and it's a lab in most cases, so it's very easy to drift into a scary evil lab stereotype.
And
So,
completely empty as
yeah.
well. No other people.
Yeah,
really.
no people, everybody looks dead, maybe. So that was quite a challenge, and I had to work quite a lot with shape language and not making too many dark and pointy things that look malicious and absolutely evil, as in machinery that's meant to dissect or something like that. So that was quite something, and I worked quite a bit on making it look like humans actually stayed there and it was okay, like an hour ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and although we are very inspired by Portal, obviously, from like Cape Johnson and Gladys and all that, we try to deviate a bit from it by not having a disembodied character, like showing Virgil up front that he's a human. That's why the primary focus of the beginning of this level is that you see his silhouette right in front of you. And we wanted to, also the other purpose is to kind of sync up with him, that you notice him, that you have like a slight interaction with him, that he comments things you do, such as walking through a door or opening a door. And that's primarily based on that in other games that works pretty well, that you just get to sync up with the character. Yeah, that's talking to him.
And it's very step by step in this level as well, because we wanted to kind of keep the player in one place and actually listening to Virgil as he speaks, to get that connection, so they don't run off and do something else, because it is in the beginning of the level, so of course there's interesting stuff to look at, but we wanted them to sync up completely with Virgil, so we have like small fish tanks that we lock the player in, and restrict the play area that they have. And then of course we have the interaction between Virgil and the player, where they cooperates in opening the security door so that the player can proceed. And he also very hints towards the shadows being dangerous, but kind of, what does he say? He says,
It's dark.
It's darker there, you make the trip. Like to kind of...
Such an obvious lie.
Yeah, and closes the door right to your face. And then of course he opens the gates into the call, which illuminates the towards the elevator. And it was always the plan that before we had the version, it was always the plan to have the call shown in the beginning of the level of the game, since it's, as you find out during the game, that it's the main reason for the shadows being dangerous. So you have to interact with it somehow throughout the game, and it was important for us to show it up front. And also the core shaking, emitting these shockwaves.
Hello, my name is Ulrik and I'm the audio designer for Lightmatter. I've been working on the music and all the effects and all sound in the game. We're going to talk a little about Can't Walk in the Shadow, this level. And yeah, the last level was Virgil's office, and there was a